Hi guys, I'm back with a new video, and today we are going to be doing a first impression on a very exciting palette. Now, did you notice I was gone? Please tell me you noticed, because it'll make me feel so much better. I'll tell you in a little bit why I took like 2 weeks off of YouTube, but let me just first start off by showing you the palette that we're going to be using and all that good jazz, because I'm so excited. This is literally the one thing that made me want to film today, because I wasn't planning on filming at all, but then this came in the mail and I was like, you know what? It's time for me to get back. So I got in the mail the Tiny Marvels palette by Sydney Grace and Mel Thompson. This is a collaboration that they did, and I am so happy for Mel. Mel, you are amazing. If you guys are not following Mel, I will of course leave her channel as well as her reveal video down below in my description box. She did such a good job with this palette, and this is inspired by like tattoos, and I think that the artwork on this is just so stunning. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Menagerie in the way that their palettes are made, especially with like the unique artwork. It's very nice and heavy. It's got like this sleek kind of shiny packaging on it, and I don't know if you can see like the green here, how it's like shiny in different lightings, and then when you put it like straight ahead, it's just kind of like dark green. It's so cute. So if you haven't already seen this palette, it is, oh, it's everything. It's so cute. It's not really the kind of color story that like I would have made, obviously, if I were to make this palette, but this is so Mel, and that is why I love it so much, because you can really tell the love that went into this palette, and you can tell that she took a long time really coming up with this color story. It's very different from anything that I've really seen on the market, especially with like, it's colorful, but it's also neutral, but it's kind of like a muted colorful with a half neutral side. I don't know, there's something about this palette that it just really spoke to me, and I am also just so happy to be supporting this collab, because like I said, Mel is fantastic. She is just one of those people that you just aspire to be. Like, she is so talented. She's everything that I would want to be, but I also know that she is so above me that I will never be everything that she is. But yeah, let's go ahead and try this palette because I am so excited. Let's go ahead and do some swatches with this. So this palette is currently out of stock, but it is on pre-order if you wanted to pick this up after maybe watching this video, if you think that this is something that you would like. Like I said, it is on pre-order. It does cost $52 if you are interested in it. I don't know when it will ship out, but it says on their website that whenever it becomes available, they will start shipping again, which is pretty common with indie brands. I mean, this happens all the time. They don't have the same capacity and manufacturing like factories and stuff that bigger brands do, so things just take a little bit more time when it comes to producing like mass products of a palette like this, since this is with a small indie brand. And personally, I've had a really good experience with Sydney Grace. I've made orders from them in the past. I have a bunch of their singles. I think that they are really nice quality, and I'm expecting nothing less from this palette. So now that you have seen the swatches, before we get into it, let's talk a little bit about the swatches, because they swatched so beautifully. I think that I'm gonna have such a good time playing with this palette already. Even the colorful mattes swatched very well. Some of them needed to be built up a little bit, but that's totally fine as long as they build. I don't mind that at all. So I'm gonna go ahead and start by priming. I'm going to use my Smashbox Lid Primer in Light, because this is my favorite primer to use in my first impression videos. Now, before I get into actually playing with this palette, let me just kind of tell you quickly why I was gone for YouTube for a little while and why I might be a little bit inconsistent moving forward. I'm just not going to make any promises, but a lot of you probably know this if you've been following me on my community tab as well as on my Instagram, but basically our cat Churro had a seizure, and it turned into like a bunch of seizures, and we had to go back and forth from the vet. It was very expensive. It was a lot of testing that needed to be done, and it turns out that he just has epilepsy, which is a condition that needs to be managed basically for the rest of his life. So it's just scary, you guys, because I love this cat so much, and even though I know that the seizures themselves aren't like fatal or anything, like he hasn't had like really big bad seizures, but like it just can't be good for him. So even though nothing is like technically wrong except for him just having this condition, which is something that can happen in cats of the age that he is right now, he's like 3.5, so this is usually when these kind of things start in cats, and I had no idea. But it is so terrifying, and like me sitting in a different room from him right now and not knowing what he's up to, even though my husband is watching him, like it's really, really, really hard for me to be apart from him, and that is the reason why I just haven't been filming. And like he's been doing okay for the past week, thank God, and thank you so much to you guys for like all your support and just like really nice comments. That really did help a lot, and thank you for just being so patient with me. I know that every YouTuber says this, and like, you know, of course, like we should be able to take time off if we needed it, but like I missed you guys. I miss filming. I miss playing with makeup. I have so many things right now that I want to talk to you guys about and like make videos on, and I'm going to make a video right after this, like doing a bit of a haul and a mini review on like a lot of these new items that I probably will not have time to make separate videos on, but I just wanted to thank you for the support at least, and I will hopefully be back to a like regular schedule again. I don't know exactly when that's going to be, because whenever something happens to Churro, I have a complete meltdown and I just fall apart because I love that cat so much. So if he does happen to have a seizure at some point, or 2 or 3 or 5, I'm gonna be a wreck for a while. I'm just gonna put that out there. Hopefully it gets easier, but right now it's really, really hard to cope with. So, okay. So let's go ahead and move into this palette now, because I want to play with some makeup. Makeup always makes me feel so much better. And if you're not new to my channel, you probably know already which colors in this palette are speaking my name. Especially this purple or lavender or like pastel-y purple. It's so beautiful, as well as this, how would I even explain this? It's like a pastel green sort of, but it's like a bright pastel green. Is there a name for a shadow like that? I don't know, but those are like the two that I definitely want to use, and I love me some depth in my looks. I'm definitely going to be dipping into this dark brown, but I think I'm going to start by using the purple as my transition shade, and this one is called Jewel B. So I'm going to basically put this in my whole crease here. I'm going to build this up as much as I am able to, and if my alarm goes off in like 7 minutes, which it is going to, it's because we need to give our cat his medicine. He is basically on meds now 5 times a day, which is crazy and is a lot, and he hates it, and it's hard for us as well, but it's something that we just have to kind of figure out, because he's currently on 2 different medications now, so we need to make sure that he is on the medication that is going to work, and once we find one that does work for a long period of time, we have to wean him off what he was already on that wasn't working. So it's not one of those things where you can just like try one, and if that doesn't work, you try another one. Like you have to like add on and then keep taking him slowly away if things are looking better. So it's going to be a lot of trial and error, and I just hope that we're able to figure out something that works, because I just feel so bad for that cat. Like imagine having someone wake you up from a nap 5 times a day to shove medicine down your throat. Like that cannot be fun, you know? And usually I don't like to talk about like personal things, or like, you know, get too chatty in like a review video or a first impression video and stuff, because I know that that's usually where like new people will find me. So if you're new to my channel, this is your first time you're seeing my video, I'm so sorry that I'm like involving you in this, but it's part of my life, and it's been something that's kind of been on my mind for like the past 2 weeks, and I also wanted to just like share with you, because you know, you're part of my life as well. And even though I try to stay kind of private on my channel, because it is hard to share, you know, details about your life to strangers on the internet, sometimes there are just things that you feel like you need to get off your chest, and I wanted to talk about it because I feel like it makes me feel a little bit better to at least know that you guys are aware of what's going on. This color is so good. It's taken a little bit of time just to get it to be like maximum pigmentation, but it builds beautifully and it blends out really, really, really well. So far, really, really happy with this. I think what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna dip into that brown shade and use that to deepen up my crease with. I mean, I definitely could use Boogaboo, which is such a funny name, which is more of a kind of purpley brown, if you want to call it that, but I think I'm just gonna go straight into Spider. I will say I'm not the biggest fan of bugs personally, but when they're made into cartoons, I can kind of like look past that. But if this had been like a real spider palette or something, I would have freaked out, and there's no chance I ever would have bought it, because bugs in general are just not really something that I am into. Wow, that is so pigmented. I'm looking at my phone. I'm just trying to figure out what time it is. So we're 2 minutes away. I'm gonna place this in the outer corner of my eye. I'm probably gonna have to leave you guys very shortly here and then come back. But this is laying down so beautifully, and it's super pigmented. It's almost like it's almost like a black. It's crazy the depth that this brown has, and it just makes me so happy because I love me a good dark matte to work with. Okay, I'm back. I'm gonna put a little bit more of this brown just on my lid here because I think I am going to do a bit of a half cut crease, but I just want to have this far enough in on my lid so that when I do go in and cut my crease, I can cover a little bit of this because I think I want to put a little bit of that green shade on my lid as well. And like this laid down so beautifully. I don't know yet what I want to do on my lower lash line. I'm thinking I might just start by smudging this shade under my eye as well and just kind of connecting the outer corner here because I do want this to be quite deep in the outer corner of my eye. So I do want that depth to go under my eye as well. I don't know if I want to use maybe something else to blend this out with slightly, but I'm just going to leave it like this for now. So I'm gonna grab my P. Louise base. If you're wondering what shade I have, mine is in the shade Rumor 02. I'm gonna use this to do a half cut crease with. So I think my camera shut off before I was completely done with my cut crease, but what I'm doing next is I'm just gonna tap over the edges here with my finger so that when I put down the mattes, it's going to be easier to blend them together. And I am going to have a shimmer on the inner portion of my lid here, so it's not that important there. But what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go into the shade called Mantis, which is this green. And I'm gonna use my MAC 239 brush. It's just a flat packing brush, and I'm gonna just basically pack this on where it is that I want it to be. And I'm gonna take this in the whole middle portion of my lid. I would rather go a little bit too heavy with this than not enough because I am gonna have to go back over the edges with like the brown and pull it that way. And then I'm gonna also, like I said, use a shimmer over this as well. So this is going to be a little bit covered up after, but man, this is laying down so nicely here. Not really noticing a lot of fallout with this palette at all. I have a little bit, like the tiniest amount of the brown right there, but I did go quite heavy with the brown. So I'm not really surprised, but this is just such a beautiful, beautiful color. Oh, I love how pigmented that is. And it's just laying so nicely in the middle of my lid too. I find that with a lot of matte shades, trying to put them on my lids just makes them kind of patchy. And I don't know if that is because of my eyelids, because I have hooded eyes, so I have a lot of lines in my eyes, or just that, I don't know, the oiliness of my eyes, maybe shadows just don't stick as well on my lid as I do in my crease and such. So that's why I don't really do a lot of all matte eye looks, because I find that the shadows just don't tend to stay there as well as shimmers do. But I am not having any problems at all with this color. This is so pretty. Ooh, I am so excited about this. Let me just try to kind of wipe away the fallout that I have here. Yeah, that came off my face right away. So I think what I want to do for the rest is I'm going to go into, do I want to use the gold or do I want to use kind of like the greeny? I think I'm going to use the gold because I love a gold eyeshadow. This is called BB, and I'm just going to basically pop that in the first portion of my lid. I'm not going to use any glitter primer with this because I'm not going to use a whole ton. So I am just going to spray it a little bit with some Fix Plus just to make sure I don't get any fallout. And I'm gonna start by putting it where I don't have any shadow, right in the beginning portion here. And then I'm gonna try to fade it out as well as I can over that green, kind of making it a bit of a diagonal shape here. Man, I love this color combination. I think this looks so good. You know when you get a palette and you're just expecting it to be good, you're just kind of, you have an idea in your head of what the palette is going to be like, and when the palette just kind of perform like you expect it to, it's like, of course it's performing well, you know? Like that's how I feel about this palette, and it's how I feel about Menagerie palettes as well, and Kaleidos' palettes. Like I just have this idea before even starting that I'm going to like it, and I know what the formula is going to be like, I know what to expect, and even though I don't use my Sydney Gray shadows that often, like I said, I've just had a really good positive experience with them, and I just knew that this palette was going to be good. Like there was just no doubt in my mind that the formula of this was going to be easy to work with and just really, really solid overall, and that's exactly how I feel right now. I'm just having a blast putting these on my eyeballs because they're doing what I want them to do, and that is what I look for in my eyeshadows. I am not one who wants to work with the eyeshadow. I want the eyeshadow to work for me. So if I need to go out of my way to like figure out how to get a formula to work, like I'm just not going to be okay with that. especially when I know that eyeshadows can be this good. Oh, I love this. I'm gonna go back in with probably both of the green and the brown, but I'm gonna start with the brown because I want to make sure when I go in with more green that it's going to layer nicely. Again, I'm just gonna tap it back over. Okay, I love this. What do I want to do to finish off under my eye? I'm almost thinking I want to use a little bit more of the green under my eye as well, just so we can sort of tie in the lid here. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. Now, I know I'm not going to be using more of the shades other than like the 4 that I have on my eyes right now, but if you guys want to see me do more looks with this, do let me know. Like I said, I'm so behind right now on videos because I have not been filming. So I just don't know how many of the new things that have come into my collection that I'll be able to do more than one video with. But I do definitely want to play with this palette more, and I can make this a priority if you guys are interested. So please do let me know. And this is even laying under my eye so nicely. So I think what I'm gonna do just to gently finish off here is I'm gonna grab a little bit of the purple that I used in my transition and just kind of blend out the underneath of the brown here. And I also just want to make sure that I bring this back all the way across my crease as well, because I feel like I lost a little bit of this when I went in with the brown. Or not that I lost it, but I felt like the brown kind of took over a little bit, which was kind of to be expected. So I just want to make sure that at the end, the purple is nice and vibrant here. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and finish off with my eyes. I'm gonna do I want to do anything in my inner corner? I probably do, but I'll just let you know what I did when I come back, and then we can do the rest of the face together. So here is where we are at. The eyes are basically done. I do want to pop a little bit of something else in my inner corner. I did wrap that gold shade around just down to my lower lash line, but I need a little bit of an extra pop. I also put some yellow in my waterline. This is Punch from Colourpop, and on my lips I have a Nabla lip gloss in the shade Dresscode. I love that so much. So for my highlighter, I want to use one from Bitter Lace Beauty, and this is one of my all-time favorite highlighters. It's in the shade Electric. It is basically a glittery yellow highlighter. It is so intense, but it's so beautiful. So I'm just gonna go very lightly in with this. You will see just how crazy intense this is, but oh, I just love how this looks so much. Isn't that just so stunning? So I am, like I said, also going to put a little bit of this in my inner corner as well as on my brow bone. And of course a little bit of this on my nose. And I just realized I have not put on any freckles today, which I guess it's just gonna be a freckle-less day, which is kind of sad. I'm gonna take a little bit of the blush that I'm wearing as well. I'm wearing this one from Odens. It's in the shade Little Jasmine. Okay, so I think this is going to be the final look. I really like this. I feel like I've done something similar in the past, but like when you do so many eye looks, I feel like eventually it's bound to happen as some of them are going to end up looking kind of the same. But as for my thoughts on this palette, I mean, listen, I have no complaints at all. I think it performed like a dream. It swatched beautifully. The shadows are so nice and so buildable and so pigmented at the same time. They're so easy to work with. The shimmers are really nice and metallic so far. Obviously, I can't speak for the whole palette because I haven't used the whole palette yet, but I love this so much. Congratulations, Mel. You did such a fantastic job. This is probably, I don't want to be biased, but I think this is probably my favorite ever collab palette that I've ever tried. And I feel like that says a lot because I love this palette. But now that I think about it, maybe this is tied with the Polina palette. So far, I would say I like those two equally, and those two are my favorites. But this is a beautiful palette. I'm so happy to have it. This is a palette that I'm very excited to play more with. Like I said, please let me know if you want me to do more looks with this, and I will happily do so because it is such a fun palette to play with. Let me know if you guys picked this up, and if you have tried it, let me know what you think of it. I would love to hear your thoughts down below. If you are new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe, and if you want to see some other similar videos on my channel, I will leave my playlist up on the screen. That's gonna be it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully I will see you all in my next one. Bye.